Hello, Dr. Coker here, and this is a guide to the Lunar Subterrane from Final Fantasy XIV. This entire dungeon pays homage to Final Fantasy IV, and I love it. Please like and subscribe. I'm releasing guides for every story dungeon and trial in the game, so you always know what's coming. Let's get started. After a string of standard trash pulls, the first boss here is Dark Elf, and you should notice that the floor is a grid of square tiles. A few seconds in, he'll cast Hexing Staves, and you'll see 2 staves stuck into the floor. Each one will explode in a Bomberman pattern when he casts Ruinous Confluence, so you'll need to make sure you aren't standing in the same row or the same column of either staff to avoid the damage. Next, you'll see Shadowy Sigil, where every tile will have either a blue square or a purple triangle. At the same time, the boss will have shapes orbiting around him. The ones orbiting the boss tell you what to avoid. So for example, if it's triangles, make sure you're standing on a tile marked with a square. Then you may see Hexing Staves followed by Sorcerous Shroud. This works the same as before, except the staves will disappear. So you'll have to remember where the safe place is to stand. To complicate matters, he'll place spread apart markers on all players, so everyone has to scatter. Thankfully though, there's enough time to scatter, then run back to the safe spot before the staves explode. Later in the fight, you'll see 3 Hexing Staves instead of 2, and from here on, they will always be shrouded, so you'll have to remember the safe spaces every time. The staves don't explode until you see him cast Ruinous Confluence, so later in the fight, as the boss casts even more simultaneous spells, just know you don't need to be safe from the staves until then. Staff Smite is a simple tank buster, just use mitigation and healing as needed. Abyssal Outburst deals unavoidable damage to all players, just heal through it. The second boss is Damcyan Antlion. He opens with Sandblast, which deals unavoidable damage to all players, just heal through it. Then he'll cast Landslip, which makes the floor look like a series of conveyor belts. Just stand in a place where the arrows won't push you into the edges, such as the south end if the arrows are pointing north, or the north end if the arrows are pointing south. This will ensure you avoid landing in the orange goo at the edges. With Antlion March, you will see a series of telegraphs indicating the path the boss is about to take. You need to stand where you can avoid all of them, but while you're at it, notice that 1 pillar on each edge will be marked with an exclamation point. This tells you that those 2 pillars will fall, and that's important in a few seconds. Now, watch the boss zoom around and you'll be safe if you stood somewhere that wasn't telegraphed. Then you will see another landslip as before, but this time you need to position yourself so that when the arrows shove you, you won't be hit by a falling pillar. The push from the arrows will move you by 2 rows. Earthen Geyser will put a stack marker on 1 player. Just stack up to defuse the damage. This will then put everyone in quicksand and give you a debuff, and you have to get out before the debuff expires or you'll die. While you're climbing out of the quicksand, a large circular AoE will appear called Pound Sand, but just keep climbing out and make sure you avoid the AoE as well. Once Pound Sand strikes, the quicksand will disappear. The third boss is Durante. He opens with Old Magic, which deals unavoidable damage to all players. Just heal through it. He often casts Duplicitous Battery, where you will see a spiral made up of many circular AoEs. Just step aside and wait a second. There will be a second spiral of AoE markers, and you will likely be standing in one of the new ones, but don't move. The first set will explode, then you should immediately run out of the second set while they explode. With Forsaken Fount, 4 large purple orbs will appear, which act as bombs. After a few seconds, they will explode and deal heavy AoE damage, so just stay away from them. Fallen Grace puts spread apart markers on all players, and this will be simultaneous with later casts of Duplicitous Battery. Both batteries will explode before Fallen Grace does, so remember to avoid the batteries first, then spread apart second. Around this time, he'll do a combo with Forsaken Fount, followed by Contrapasso. A few of the same purple orbs will appear, but they will be split by Contrapasso, and each will separate into 2 bombs. The first time this happens, the center of the arena is the safest spot. The next time he does this, the center is not safe, and there's only 1 safe spot. You have to pick the edge that has a splitting orb, and no other orbs are heading toward it. Another combo is Antipodal Assault followed by Hard Slash. You will see a line stack marker on one player, so everyone needs to stack in a line. As soon as this strikes, run to the boss, because Hard Slash will hit most of the floor with a large conal AoE, and this is easiest to sidestep at the tip where the boss is. Twilight Phase will spawn 2 parallel rows of purple fangs. Just back away from them, oriented so they look like a tunnel on your screen. Then they will be blasted with line AoE damage, but you'll be safe from there. With Dark Impact, you'll see a thin laser beam touching the floor. Just get as far away from it as you can, because a very large AoE will strike that side of the floor. Finally, there is Death's Journey, where you'll see an AoE circle at the center and several purple lines like a pizza. Get far from the center and in between 2 purple lines to be safe. Several conal AoEs will strike along the purple lines. And that's it for the Lunar Subterrane. Good luck and have a blast. See you next time.